Hello, welcome back once again, ladies and gents, and for the final time tonight for the Chaos TV's live coverage of the EUWChallenger Series number 12. This is semi-finals, the second, and this will determine who faces off against Copenhagen Wolves in the grand finale tomorrow. Reason Gaming up against Croissant Crusaders, currently resides at a 1-1 scoreline. This is the all-important deciding matchup. I'm at this, and I'm joined by Spuddington. How you doing, Spud?
I'm doing well. I'm really looking forward to this. We'll see actually this game whether that last game was a regaining of form by Croissant Crusaders in general, because they looked a bit lost in the first game, or whether it was kind of just carried by Spontex and carried by Hefty Schlumpf, because those two together really did a lot of work with that very fed Diana and that highly influential Vi across the board. We'll see, though. It's kind of one of those things where it's hard to discern exactly what the causal factor was there in their win.
Yeah, that's very true, and all of League of Legends falls into that, where everyone pulls their weight, even if it doesn't look as though somebody is really doing a great deal. Behind the scenes stuff as well, you got to remember communication, calls, things like that can always come into the mix. Either way, in game number 1, if you remember back, if you didn't join us in that game, Aatrox was locked in for Reason Gaming and absolutely devastated. So it is going to be banned out this time from Croissant Crusaders. That is a big power play champion off the table, not available here for Reason Gaming. But they are going to lock in Thresh, and on the flip side, Six is going to go for his Zyra again, and Hefty Schlumpf for the Jarvan the 4th.
And I do like those two initial pickups. Jarvan the 4th is a very, very flexible jungler. You know, I mean, we see him all the time, pretty much. If he's not, if it's not the classic Lee Sin or Elise junglers, it's probably going to be Jarvan, and then maybe you might see a Xin or a Vi, who we've been seeing all day for today for some reason. But regardless, I like the Zyra pickup as well, because it works well against Thresh, plus a very good follow-up to Jarvan Ultimate. You can put the Stranglethorns down underneath Cataclysm and it'll work really, really well. But do you know, Metas, because you are in the future for me, what they have locked in?
They locked in the Vi and Vayne, so it is going to be Vayne once again. Definitely one of those top tier AD carries right now in League of Legends. And I fully agree with what you're saying, that Zyra alongside Cataclysm from Jarvan is just incredible CC. It's kind of the same reason why you pick a Sona with Jarvan. It's the same principle, it's the same idea. You get that double lockdown, lots of disruption on the card. So they were thinking about a potential Ezreal lock-in again there for Prathana, seemingly feeling the Tristana a tiny bit more. Still have 25 seconds to suggest and decide what they want to go for, however. But so far you have to assume Six is going to be running Zyra at bot lane. Which ADs would you expect to see alongside the Zyra? Could it feasibly be the Ezreal again, or do you think they'll kind of think, okay, it didn't work out great last game, let's go with something else?
Well, the interesting thing is that it did seem to work out for them last game, even though to my mind it sort of shouldn't have done. Like, I don't particularly like that pairing. I mean, it's not a bad pairing, it's a pairing that I'm not massively keen on, but you don't generally want to run Ezreal against Vayne, because Vayne is very good at harassing from within the minions and is also good at dodging skill shots, kind of two factors which are anathema to Ezreal's playstyle. The Tristana, though, now that could be quite interesting and quite explosive in that early game.
Very much the case. Rocket Jump, you can just imagine the grasping roots going in, Rocket Jump on top of that, and then the E as well for that kind of damage over time, the dot on top of it is going to be fairly scary. And because the grasping roots are going to lock everything down, Tristana is going to have all the time that Prathana requires to jump in there and get the pixel perfect jump. So again, it's one of those kind of AD carries that works very well with a CC AoE centric lineup. They've locked in the Kennen as well. This is just massive doses of AoE, Spud. This is kind of a terrifying composition to go up against.
Yeah, it's a really, really scary one. If they get ahead, it's going to be so hard to cope with. Kennen can split push well. He can also be an incredible teamfight monster. Tristana can snowball hard in the early game. Her mid-game won't be particularly great, but can still function in this kind of comp quite well, because she will just contribute from the sidelines with that range, with that sustained damage, and it will only get more and more dangerous. And yeah, the Diana lock-in against that Ahri again. I actually have to say though, Spontex didn't really get fed in his lane. He kind of got fed just off the roaming phase.
Yeah, that's true. I feel a lot of that as well, though, was down to the jungle presence that was in mid. Jarvan the fourth was very much always in the mid lane, so that's definitely one of the contributing factors, I feel. But yeah, you're completely correct, and Spontex kind of made kills elsewhere. That's the strength of Spontex. He's played at top lane, we've seen before in the past, and now he's playing in mid, so he has a very good understanding of when to roam and where. That's where he picked up the bulk of his kills last time around. Then he was getting towards the territory where he could two-shot Sona, and then Zoni's Hourglass. You've got the pick, and then you can just rinse and repeat over and over again. So this lineup right now for Croissant Crusaders, to me, is really, really powerful. Looking at the lineup from Reason Gaming, it's kind of a mix match, Spud. They have a bit of everything. So what are your thoughts on their lineup?
Well, one thing they definitely do have here is they have the ability to catch one person, focus them really, really hard, and punish them. Because you get that death sentence on someone, you get that charm on someone, you get the full combo from Ari, you get the shock blast from Mozilla, and then you can possibly have Nadia's kind of roll around, do a bit of extra damage, clean up. So they have got some tools available to them, but actually, I will just cut off my thought there, because we are into the delay timer now, and we do have to run some adverts, and I imagine you wouldn't like to have them during the game. So see you in just a minute, ladies and gentlemen, after this. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the final game of today. This is Croissant Crusaders versus Reason Gaming, the final game of this best of three, the decider. The winner goes on to the finals to face Copenhagen Wolves. I am Spuddington, and I am joined today, once again, for the last time, by Metas.
Hey Spud, hey viewers, looks like we are going to have another aggressive start from both teams. Seems to have been the textbook play that both have brought out each game. Last time was a bit of a flirtatious affair with a couple skill shots being thrown out but nothing being followed up on. And it seems like maybe the occasion is getting to them both a tiny bit. This deciding game, everything on the line. One slight mishap could prove the end. Both teams seemingly quite happy to be passive. That being said though, Spud, looks like Reason Gaming are shaping up for a red invade.
And speaking of slight mishaps right now, two people appear to have no items.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They're both recalling now. Well, you know, it happens to the best of us occasionally. Not usually two people on the same team, but they have got their Doran's Blades now, and it's not actually going to cost them too much. There was no invade by Reason Gaming. They're not going to get any deep wards, and indeed, mid lane is very thoroughly warded, but otherwise, there's not a lot of vision across the map for either team.
I mean, the only thing I could have thought of there is that maybe they were thinking, let's just get into position super early. But how long does it really take you to buy a Doran's Blade? All of a second or 2 seconds? So I'm not too sure what happened there. Could have been a bit of a lapse in concentration. But either way, Hefty Schlumpf is going to start on his blue. And that, of course, means that Agent on the opposite team is going to be starting on his red. So both junglers shaping up for the same kind of idea. Question is, if Vi's going to be super aggressive here and try and get an early gank. Doesn't look likely, considering, again, like game number 1 here, Spud, dual lane's going in the mid.
Yeah, I'm actually... Okay, again, this is going to be the Thresh in this mid lane situation, which I guess in this case, actually, it's not really going to serve either of those of the duo lanes too strongly. If anything, it will slightly gimp Prathana's ability to all in. It will give Vayne a slightly safer farming lane than the usual, because they're probably going to be pushed up to their tower a lot with the Tristana. But yeah, I might have to ask the players after the game precisely what the logic is on these particular swap-ups. Regardless though, Mozilla taking an early lead in that bot lane, and Vi heading around on this top lane. Odamne does not have Electrical Rush yet.
Yeah, Lightning Charge has not been opted for. Does have his flash, however, so this is going to be close. Agent actually deciding not to even jump in, realizing that Bimbo was slightly too far away, and therefore showed his hand and then just pulls back. Had a couple of ideas there in the chat I was just reading over about people saying, well, they just didn't want the opposite team, they didn't want Reason Gaming to know what they were starting with in lane. I could kind of go along with that, but the fact is Tristana is always going to get the Blade first, and Kennen more than likely will start with Blade, so I don't really buy that idea either.
No, I think that was just genuinely something in their brains. Perhaps it was the pause timer that threw them off and they thought they had already bought items or something. But neither of them noticed, neither of them had items. And wow, Spontex is really getting reamed in this bot lane.
Definitely the case, but again, with same as last game, had a very weak kind of subpar performance up until level 6, and then with the Lunar Rush is where it really started to turn it on, and I would expect to see the same thing here as well. Just biding his time like a coiled viper, waiting for that right moment to strike. Top lane is going to go down as well. Bimbo is being chased by both Schlumpf, and Odamne will be falling for first blood, going into the hands of Kennen. Nice little gank there from Hefty Schlumpf.
Yeah, and this is actually the problem with running these kind of non-standard long laners, as you may wish to call them now. I'll coin the term because it's a longer lane. Yes, I'm clever. But no, you see, if you're running Ahri there, pre-6, she's got no escape. Pre-6 against Kennen, who's already going to give her a hard time in a lane, that's just saying, please, come, kill me, gank me. And unless your own jungler is aware of that and is able to take advantage of it, there's really not a lot that Ahri can do about it, save try and pull the lane back to her own tower. Which, even then, that's quite difficult to survive if you get dived by a Jarvan.
Yeah, it's like the same mentality as Kassadin, that pre-level 6 he's very vulnerable, especially with Flash being burnt. So you have to expose that weakness, you have to go for the jugular. That's what these top tier players do on a daily basis in solo queue, on a daily basis in team ranked 5. So No different in this game. They are going to punish any weaknesses. They're going to punish any mistakes. It's exactly what Hefty Schlumpf just did. So he's filling in nicely for Broken Shard, who will be rejoining the ranks of Croissant Crusaders tomorrow if they do manage to make it through this game and face up against Copenhagen Wolves. Regardless though, 500 gold lead, a lot of that in part down to the first blood that was received. Looks like Spontex has had enough of being at bot lane against Jace. They have gone for the switch up here, Spud. So Kennen bot lane against Jace with the first blood, it's going to be pretty strong.
Yeah, it makes it really, really difficult though for Ahri in this situation. Spontex, I mean, Bimbo does a very good job of playing it defensively, not allowing Spontex to get that super aggressive all in on him once he's hit 6. But it's just one of those awkward lanes where you never really have the tools to win unless the other guy screws up or the jungler ganks. Speaking of which, Agent is heading up there and Spontex has no wards and has been charmed.
Oh, here comes the Vault Breaker. It's going to land as well. Spontex not in a good position here. And he survived long enough for Jarvan. Answer is a resounding no. Last tick of Ignite will be enough. Hefty Schlumpf was trying to get those double golems. Finishes them off now. But a nice little retaliation gag there from Agent. And they will pick up that second kill of the game and push this one forward. So Spontex must be feeling pretty damn hard done by right now, Spud. Got the lane switch up to go top, so he stopped getting bullied off Jace. Then gets ganked and dies.
Yeah, and that's going to start to really hamper his efforts. Diana is still going to be relevant. She has high base damages, has some CC built in, and we're just as Zhonya's can be relevant, but she's not going to be the same ridiculous beast that we saw last game. And that's just going to mean, well, Spontex will have a much harder time influencing the game, and Bimbo probably on that Ahri will, at least for a while, be the stronger influences in the team fights. And indeed in the picking scenario as well. Well, normally you would expect Ahri to be better in a team fight, but not necessarily better in that kind of small skirmish fight.
Yeah, very true. So it's going to be a case here if Bimbo can really just punish Spontex for being behind, really try and push forward this advantage, get the last hits under the tower, has hit level 6, Spontex still 5, only halfway through this level thus far. So Bimbo definitely has a resounding advantage right now. Meanwhile, at bot lane, Odomna's putting on the pain, he's putting on the back burner for Mozilla, but look at that burst damage, incredible stuff. Double Doran's Blade from Mozilla, just jumping in. Interesting build to start with here though, but a lot of Jaces will go for the Tear of the Goddess and try and stack up towards the Muramana. So Double Doran's Blades putting down the hurt early game against Kennen.
Yeah, and it's giving him that ability to just straight trade auto attacks, which normally can be a real problem. Kennen actually has a decent bit of range advantage on him, and also has that stun potential, but the burst that comes out of Mozilla is much, much higher. So unless Odamne can get that stun proc off before the full combo comes out of Mozilla, he is actually unable to do the auto attack trades that Kennen normally likes to do. Like you can actually see now, Mozilla, the moment he got one Mark of the Storm on him, backed out.
Yeah, playing very safe, just really understanding the mechanics behind Kennen. Doesn't want to take any needless damage, doesn't want to get needlessly stunned either, wants to get as much farm as possible. Still not a great deal happening in mid. It has by and large just been a farming frenzy, 67 to 83, so Nardius is having a whale of a time in mid. Really nice farming. Spontex again at top lane is being focused down, both junglers going up there. Now Bimbo trying his best to answer back onto Schlumpf and will pick it up, so that's a 2-for-0 trade. Really nice opening here from Reason Gaming, Spud. And again, Spontex's woes continue. 0 for 2, 46 CS against the 60 of Ahri and the 2 for 1 with double buffs.
The peril of being the person that kind of went ham last game. Diana without that farm isn't going to be too big of a damage threat. Pathana actually could be in a little bit of trouble in the mid lane there, just trading off. Stranglethorns goes down.
Does. Knocks Kazmich in the end. Nardi's in a nice position right now, but can he finish it off? Yes, he can! Last proc of the Silver Bolts coming good with the Condemn hitting that one off. So it's really looking pretty bad right now for Croissant Crusaders, barring their bottom laner, as the case may be here. Normally their top laner, Odamne, who is having a nice time at bot, but apart from that, it is one-way traffic going down the highway, starting to get in towards the spiraling out of control stage, because Vayne is just having a really comfortable mid lane here, Spud. And we talk about a lot, you know, Vayne, once she gets into mid to late game, is just going to become overpowering. Well, she's escalating really quickly towards that mid-game status. 98 CS at 10 minutes is phenomenal CSing.
Yeah, actually, if you think about it though, she's also got somehow about 25 CS, so a full kill's worth over her opposing laner here. That's big. And in addition, that's going to mean she's a much bigger threat when the teamfights come around. She's ahead on XP. It's going to mean she can bully a little bit harder. It's all coming up roses right now, and I'm a little bit surprised in a way that they didn't go for Dragon, because Spontex was committed to the top and Bimbo was near that mid area. They probably could have forced it if they wanted to. Might have been a bit risky for their tastes, though.
It's just, you know, I'm looking at Vayne and I'm thinking, this is incredible CSing. Look how much gold. 1.7k. Meanwhile, at top, Spontex and Bimbo are doing the tango to the death once again. I feel Spontex is going to come out second best here. The tower has fallen. The Spirit Rush claims the kill. Spontex going further behind bot lane now. Agent trying his best to escape. Nice Vault Breaker through the Cataclysm. Will be okay for now. Now Adomna is in all kinds of problems. He's going to fall to Jace's hand. Can Hefty Schlump pull this one out? Doesn't look likely. Flagging and dragging away back to the tower. Reason Gaming. This is deja vu from game number 1 spot. They are so dominant across the board.
Yeah, both of these teams seem to run really, really hard with the ball if they get it in terms of snowballing. They are just, I mean, rocking it. They are all over the map. Hefty Schlump isn't able to make much happen, and indeed they catch Prathana again.
Yeah, Prathana's not having his greatest day here. Constantly caught out from the charms from Bimbo, who has been given Ari each game thus far, so definitely happy on this champion. And with all the harassment, all the damage they've put down in mid, and realizing that Spontex is at top lane, why the hell not go for this Drake? It's by and large free. Worst case scenario, it's a 4 versus 5 here for Reason Gaming, and they've weakened Prathana, they've popped the barrier, and the rocket jump as well, so they're feeling really comfortable. They pick up the free Drake. The question now is, will Croissant Crusaders chase after them and try and engage? The answer is a resounding no. Smart in the end. I feel they'd come out second best there. So free Drake for absolutely nothing in return, again for Reason Gaming.
Yeah, that did threaten them and keep them from recalling a little bit, so Spontex should be able to take down this top tower, which is, you know, it's a nice little bit of gold for the whole team. Will give them a little bit back after they lost that dragon, but they are still definitely up against it. And I've got to say, do you recall which order the champions were picked, Metas? Because I'm trying to recall whether Vayne was picked before or after the Tristana here.
I believe the first pick was Thresh, and then it was Vayne and Ari. So I hope that answers your question. You know what my memory's like. I'm literally like a goldfish, but I'm pretty sure that's how it went for Reason Gaming.
Because to my mind, I feel like right now... oh, damn, he actually is getting aggressed upon.
Oh, he's popped his Slicey Maelstrom, so he has got the stun off, and thought for a second he may try and turn the tides on that one, but both bot laners here just respecting each other, giving each other a small glance, and not going to be fully on engaging. Smart play here from Jace to pull back. Needs to be careful because Jarvan is slowly but surely snake-like coming down to bot, but is on top of a ward, so they are going to go back in here. Agent is slightly too far ahead of his compadre of Mozilla, so they're not going to have to follow on to this one. But again, a couple of ultis burnt in the process.
Okay, so right now, would you say... I mean, okay, imagine Prathana, instead of playing Tristana, was playing Varus right now. Do you think that would be a different situation for them right now?
Yes, actually, I think Varus would have made a lot of sense because Chain of Corruptions, you know? And everyone does say, you know, Chain of Corruption is super OP in AoE, but the fact is that with the Blighted Quiver, with the Piercing Arrow, and also his Hail of Arrows, his E, he's just all-round really strong as an AD carry. He gets the movement, attack speed, boost as well if he gets kills. So he's one of those AD carries that can snowball in team fights, especially when you have a look at the rest of his lineup. AoE centric, CC centric. With Varus, it would have just fit in perfectly. I think the idea here from Croissant Crusaders was to allow Tristana that free roaming kind of stage at the back of the team fight, just to put down that, to really drop the hammer on everybody. As I'm speaking, though, Dominic has just been completely decimated from Jace and also Vi. That is the strength of Vi in a nutshell, making plays out of nothing. But to answer your question, Spud, yes, I believe Varus may have been a better pick overall.
Yeah, plus he would have been much better at shutting down Nardius in this lane. The 6 could have punished Thresh when he went for it, and there would be much more bursty kind of follow-up from Varus, plus that range advantage. But as it happens, we are committed to this game. They have chosen their picks. I'm a little bit curious to see if you know, I might ask them later on if that was there, if you know, if they just didn't think of Varus, because that does happen too. Regardless, though, back on their heels once again, about 4,500 gold between the two teams. Spontex in this top lane is just going to be clearing out the minions, and Bimbo continuing to push. I wonder if he's strong enough to just straight up give him from full.
Well, Spontex loses half HP already. Ignite's gone down as well, so this is a full-on commit from Bimbo. Don't think going to be able to get this kill, however. No, Spontex is too tanky with the double Doran's rings and also the Seeker's arm guard, so he's going to escape, but again just forcing backwards, denying this CS. Hefty Schlump from the side, flagging and dragging, knocks Bimbo in the air. Charm lands. Hefty Schlump needs to be careful because Ari is doing a lot of damage here. Don't think he expected that much. The flash was burnt from Bimbo 8. Another thing as well, just to reply to the whole Varus kind of argument there, is maybe they were looking for an AD carry that had an escape. A natural escape like the rocket jump, because you look at the assassination, you look at Vi's hard engage as well. Having a rocket jump or an arcane shift, for example, is a nice way of repositioning yourself in fights. Maybe Prothano had that in the back of his mind.
Yeah, that might have been the main factor there. Spontex actually finds Agent stealing away those wraiths, but you know it's a bad situation when your top laner, or at least your solo laner, is below in levels against the enemy jungler. And right now, Agent is so tanky. He's got 2,400 health, plus that shield which procs off his percent health. That's scary to deal with, but at the moment, it feels like this game is stalling out a little bit. Prothano's wave clear is actually keeping them in this game, especially considering Spontex is now starting to kind of catch up on farm.
Yeah, this is exactly what they want. If they stall, that 7-1 scoreline means nothing. You know, a 1 point gold is going to start to have relevance as well. That's not going to be for another 30 or 40 minutes, but still, the fact remains. So, if Croissant Crusaders can stall for long enough, and they definitely have a comp capable of doing so, lots of wave clear, then they can start to turn this game back around. As it stands though, in a straight up fight, I have to feel that Reason Gaming come out ahead, purely on damage output. But if Spontex can be given some free reign to farm for the next 5-10 minutes, he's going to become very scary again, like game 2.
Agent in the mid lane.
Yeah, they are going to be engaging that. It's going to be the Assault and Battery. Prothonic getting crushed from the side just from Bimbo, so the AD carry being forced to go back to the right of the back lines of his team. There goes the box. Bimbo as well with huge damage. They get the double kill, looking for the third as well. Charm lands on Hefty Schlump. That's a double kill in the meanwhile from Vayne. And this is what we're talking about. It's all well and good having a Tristana who's going to be a boss late game, but if she gets caught out from a charm at the beginning of the fight from Bimbo 8, will do absolutely nothing. They had no damage at all to retort. Look at the health bars right now for Reason Gaming. By and large fairly full, if you take Vi out of the equation with Jace who just took 2 or 3 tower shots. Their 2 carries, full HP. That tells the story.
Yeah, and it was actually quite close to being a good disengage. They might have sacrificed 6 in that fight, but they were nearly able to get away with 4 members on almost no health. Unfortunately though, Bimbo 8 got to them at the very end of that fight. He got to that group of 4 people who were super low, AoE'd them, took out 2 at least, and got the others even lower on health. They were very close to ending up with almost like a triple or a quadra kill going to Bimbo. As it happened though, only the 2 kills, and that's kind of starting to crack that turtle shell and increases the gold difference even further. Prothana in the mid lane going to be shoving out the lane, but you don't dare stay in against Nardius right now. His Blade of the Ruined King was off cooldown, otherwise he might have actually gone for him there.
It's definitely possible without the sanctuary of either of their mid towers. It's a long way back, and Kazmich has just been caught out of position. Reason Gaming, this could be a slight mishap. That starts to get the ball rolling in Croissant Crusaders' favour. It is a bit of a drop in the ocean right now. They're going to have to do that a few more times before Croissant Crusaders can feel completely comfortable. And in fact, Agent is playing really ballsy, just getting right up into the grill of the opposition and then darting back with the Vault Breaker. But either way, as you were saying before, Vayne looking very scary. This is more of a reckless style build for Vayne. Blade of the Ruined King into Phantom Dancer, Static Shiv afterwards. Interesting to see what Vayne will go for the 3rd item.
Yeah, gives you that mobility, and that allows you to spend more time putting out damage. They need to disengage from this though. Even an initiate from Agent onto someone like Jarvan, I think would have been not a bad idea there. But they are backing away. I guess Vayne was at the bottom lane, so no worries after all.
Yeah, Vayne went bot lane and just picks up the free kill on Spontex with the Blade of the Rune King, as you mentioned previously, up and available. That is just pretty much easy pickings for Nardius, who again is just going to get this free farm, and 205 CS at 20 minutes is beautiful CSing. Nice little bit of damage, poke damage from Bimbo. Just the Orb Deception through and the Charm as well. They're going to go in for this full engage. Six has been caught out completely. Stranglethorns comes up. Will be going down into the passive form. Hefty Schlumpf has been popped as well. That's going to be a double kill for Ari, looking for the triple as well. It's not going to be the triple though. They've gone for the double kill with Jace chiming in, and just Spontex remaining. Would have been the ace had Spontex not respawned after that previous death to the hands of Nardius. In fact, Prothana leaving, so they're calling the GG.
That was the surrender vote, and that is the red team agreeing to surrender. That being our good friends Croissant Crusaders. Unfortunately, that second game there, seeming almost like it was a flash in the pan, because the first and third games were so heavily in the favor of Reason Gaming. They just outthought them, they outplayed them, and they really took it home. That does mean that Reason Gaming will be advancing onto our finals tomorrow against Copenhagen Wolves. This should be an interesting matchup, because I do believe they may have played against each other in the past, and Copenhagen Wolves have come out ahead. We'll see if they can manage to pull that back tomorrow, but that is the last game for us today. Metas, do you have anything else to say?
No, it's just been a pleasure casting with you as always, and please feel free to follow this stream, bottom left of your screen right now. We'll notify you when we're live. We have a best of 5 coming up tomorrow. Copenhagen Wolves up against Reason Gaming. Should be a cracking game. Anything to add to that, Spud?
Well, if you'd like to follow me, you can do so on my Twitter or on my Facebook, which are on screen, at Spuddington, that being twitter.com/Spuddington, and facebook.com/SpuddingtonCasts. Metas, I do believe you also have a few social media.
I do. If you enjoyed the cast, you want to see more, it is facebook.com/MetisTV or at MetisTV on Twitter. Chaos TV also has their own social media. I believe it is just at Chaos TV for all of the social media outlets. And also Pulse, who was casting in the first best of 3 with Spud, is at Impulsible. So definitely give him some love as well. I think that's going to do it for us tonight though, Spud.
We do have some reruns coming up in a couple of minutes. We should just be going for, like 2 minutes of downtime while we throw up the break screen. But once that's done, you can catch the games we had earlier this very day, being Copenhagen Wolves against... Oh, God. Who were they up against?
Tomorrow?
No, who were they up against earlier today for the reruns? I casted this game.
I was not casting
My
that
memory,
game.
But regardless, we have Copenhagen Wolves playing against someone who you will find out after the break. There you go. It's a mystery for you. Heidel's Fight Club. That's why, because they're a new team. Regardless, that's it from us. We'll see you after this with some reruns.